have here a bottle of mashka that my father got from the Rebbe.
Wow.
We'll talk about it soon. But let's start with Chaim Moshiach Now, Rabbeinu Melech Moshiach Now.
Amen.
You guys called me. I don't know if I'm the professional guy to speak. I'm not the Balargation, but to sit back to Farbrengen, I don't mind.
All right.
So that's why we brought the bottle of mashka.
So let's get some introduction for those who, for some reason, don't already know you.
Yet somebody doesn't know who I am. But you want me to introduce myself, or you introducing all?
Oh, we'll start with welcome everybody to Want Moshiach, another episode of Mitzvah Shem. I think this is 23.
I should have been on 28. Okay.
Yeah. But my name is Levi Palchenko. This is Simcha Fish. We're here with the one, the only, Mendel
Gerlitzky, Shlita.
And
thanks for having me.
yeah, if you want to start with a little bit about yourself.
How you grew up? What was your abysmal?
I grew up here in Crown Heights all my life. Baruch Hashem, I had the big schus. Some people would call it a Crown Heights farmer. But at least I grew up over here in the vibe. 770 is in my veins. And I grew up pretty pure about the belief in the Rebbe being Moshiach and Yechi.
So that was Pasha. That wasn't the...
Yeah. So my innocence was taken away. Actually, there was a story with I was coming home from school from Ali Torah one day. I must have been third grade, second grade, probably second grade, and I see hundreds of people standing in front of 770 and police and Zachin, the whole Evan Apina Parsha. I don't know if you're going to cut this out or not. And I remember even who it was, some seventh grade in Ali Torah. I asked him, what's going on? He says, the antis are breaking. I said, what are antis? People that don't say Yechim. What? People that don't want to say it. Like, it wasn't, he took away my innocence. I never knew that there was something like that, or someone not saying Yechi.
Wow.
So that's what I grew up in. That videos of the Rebbe were watched in my house, no matter what year, even if it was the Rebbe on the balcony, we always sing Yechi every Shabbos meal. And then so that's where I get onto the picture, and then Simcha calls me and says, "Come to Farbrengen." I said, "I'll come to Farbrengen."
Just today, I heard from my father that someone posted a video or something of someone talking about no one can take away Yechi or something. And
Brain.
Yeah, that it was the spell, and it was like Tashan Sama. What was
Tashan Ayin Gimel, he was speaking to the Kvitza. Oh, to the Archim? I forgot what it was.
He also put his speech in the back of his Sefer Torah.
Yeah, he was speaking to the Tashan Ayin Gimel, and he was saying, 30 years.
And
not 30 years, 20 years.
20 years. Sitting on the balcony.
So my father commented that, like, was very in a spot, they called the Yem. There was a time when the Yem says about something else, about the friendship with the Feds. Me December Zidal was versed in a spot. One of those two. Anyways, just quoting the lesson from Yem. Was versed in a spot. There was a time when the normal, and the Nuns, he remembers, the normal narrative was Yechi. That was mainstream. The Rebbe is Mashiach. The Rebbe is taking us out of Galus. There's no shaila. There's no doubt. And slowly but surely, they craft the narrative where now you go to Abachim 770 even, and you go to a lot of people who the normal narrative they've always heard is that you do the normal thing. You do the normal thing. You stay regular. And
okay, so here's the problem. The problem started already with the N-word.
With normal.
Yeah. When here in Lubavitch, we try to stick to L'chatchila Riber. When you're trying to fit the normal, the N-word is a big amalek in Lubavitch. I mean, it's a big mini of Eikov, which tells Fislach to getting anything done, and especially when it comes to Mashiach, it's a big problem.
Yeah, the Rebbe's constant refrain at the beginning of Shulchan Aruch, "Al yizbaishu mipnei maligim." You have to figure out what's the truth. You have to figure out what's right, and you can't be scared that the
Rebbe once said, "I'm crazy." They say about me that I'm crazy about Mashiach. But on the other hand, there's a sicha from the Rebbe about Tavshim Memheit, Shabbos Hagadol. The Rebbe says, you meet a Yid, the conversation starter has to be Moshiach Now. People think, first you ask them, how do you do? How's your wife, kids? And start talking about Yiddishkeit at the end. If he's a Keli, you sit and farbreng with him, and at 3 in the morning, you can mention something called Mashiach. The Rebbe says, the chassidim is the first thing is you say Moshiach Now. and he sees, and the guy, the Mikurim will see that it's a normal person, he'll see Mashiach's a normal thing. So the other hand, you have to have Kalim B'Tikun sometimes.
Normal is only a keli, is only a weapon in the arsenal of saying Moshiach now.
Yeah, we have to pretend to be normal.
The point isn't to be normal.
Yeah.
The point is you have to say Moshiach now. In order for the person to accept the Moshiach now, you have to afterwards.
You have to think that it's going.
You have to prave and
normal.
The idea is the normal thing is Moshiach now. That's really the truth. What's normal is if you're a Yid, every second you're in Galus, that's Moshiach now.
There's a Sikha from the Rebbe. The Rebbe says, Tavshim and Beis, I forgot the day. The Rebbe says Mashiach's going to come. We're asking for Mashiach. The Rebbe says, and then the world's going to be normal. Not the way it is now from the fact that Mashiach's not here. It's shown the Rebbe's words of Bias Mashiach, Zed Davar Normali. I saw the Hebrew Hanach. It says, Azai Yia Elam Normali, Leike Fishu Achshav, Kemuchach Mizet Gufa Shemashiach Adain Leba, Bias Mashiach Zed Davar Normali.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, but these minus, these things, they need to become much more popular.
Yeah.
It's
not a minus, it's a Sikha.
But these things, like the Rebbe saying Mashiach now.
And that's what we're doing. That's what we're on the
right.
podcast here.
There needs to be much more. Everyone knows about that, but the people don't. It's very difficult. Everybody wants to feel that they're normal. Everybody wants to be accepted that they fit in. They're doing the right thing.
Right. It's recently I saw first of all, if you look at through all the years, everything is very not normal. Like Lubavitch is very not the norm of. I'm saying. In the Yiddish Welt, and then especially not even talking about the regular world, but in the Yiddish Welt itself, people
like to say that Lubavitch was all normal till the Mashiach came
out. Correct. No. Lubavitch was never normal.
Every year Lakewood had a set of the Sikhs until the 90s. Also,
yeah.
But it's very interesting how I don't know if it's not a machla, but it's a part of the human nature to try to fit in, and there's a lot of Lubavitchers that are trying to bring Lubavitch make Lubavitch fit into everyone else.
Make Lubavitch normal again.
Right, correct. But and one of those ways is by distancing yourself from the extreme and trying to not only distancing yourself. It's not only a surmeira, but it's not an asi toiv, but it's entering yourself into the rest of the Yiddish Welt. By doing daf yomi, and by doing talking in shas and all these things.
I'm going to speak against learning Torah, but if he's going to learn Torah, it's one of the Rebbe's miftayim. But at the end of the day, we have what the Rebbe gave us. Rambam, v'cholu, and
saying the koch. Where's the koch?
It's niya kechol hagayim. People have it's a machla. We have to fit in. We have to look like everyone else. The Lubavitch has to be more of a chatchila everybody.
100%.
Yeah.
It's one man's opinion.
Yeah.
So we wanted to sit down essentially. We're in Crown Heights in the Rebbe's Shechina, and like you said, you grew up not in a bubble.
Well,
you didn't.
Yeah.
Everyone else is in the bubble.
Correct.
Yeah. We're now. We're in the free world.
So, sadly, it's seeping in more and more from the outside, from the chassidim. It's more seeping into Crown Heights. It's more of the not such a keneged, but
the N-word.
Yeah.
Listen, we can't live in denial that there's a Helen Behester. But on the other hand, I don't know why you're bringing up only Crown Heights. I mean, I always felt people get nervous. Why aren't there more Lubavitchers saying that the Rebbe's Moshiach? I mean, my answer is every Yid should be saying the Rebbe's Moshiach or Kachel Moshiach. Moshiach is not exclusive for Lubavitch. It's for everyone in the world. Yeah. So if you're going to have an organization in Lubavitch that's going to refuse to be part of it, I mean, it's as bad as Torah Masorah not being bad. I mean, we have to get everyone on board.
It's not the same, though, I think, because in the fundamental thing of chassidim and Beis, where the Rebbe lays out the new game plan for Lubavitch, for Shluchas, the Rebbe explains there in maybe the Rebbe, the Begim will fact check me on all the times that I've mentioned it before, and how nothing in the base is a chiddush, and how everything was already said before. But at least to me, that's where I know it from, where the Rebbe says there that every Yid is a shliach of the Rebbe, which I mentioned previously. I found very big of a chiddush, because every Yid, is a shliach of the Ebershter Mele. Every Yid is a shliach of the Rebbe.
Yeah.
There are some people I could find that could think I'm not sure if he's punked, but no, that was every year this has shlichus from the Rebbe. So, but then the Rebbe clarifies that between you and the lamppost, there are people who, amongst all the Yidden, dedicated themselves 24/7 that they're on specifically and more to the exclusion of everything else, shlichus of the Rebbe. And it's those people in particular, because shluchim have the ability, because Ma'am Ban, the whole secret to bring the Gula, to bring Mashiach, it's shluchim mainly who needs to be phenomenal with the shluchas of, which is really for everyone, but a dafka, the Rebbe shluchim would be the ones who need to do this kabbalah pnei Mashiach Tkenu, the shluchas. So while it's true, like you're saying, that this is for everyone, the Rebbe makes that clear in the Sikha, that those are shaykh together, the Yid on Neustam, this is shaykh to every single Jew without exception. It's the people who are mainly need to be at the forefront, leading. This is their job more than anything else, is
absolutely
is the Rebbe shluchim.
Absolutely. But on the other hand, sometimes there's a story I think the Rebbe says of the Rebbe Marash, I could be getting some details off, that he wanted a certain kokei to go out and he didn't want to put his name, at least his name should be on the top, so it shouldn't look like it's Lubavitch's Mohammed and it's Lubavitch's agenda. It look like more it's everyone's agenda. So sometimes it's better not to put Lubavitch, connect Lubavitch and Mashiach. It should be everyone's agenda. It's not an exclusive Lubavitch agenda.
There's a svar now. I know there's the National Tzedkanias are busy with building the Rebbe, the Armen for Melech HaMashiach. So there were the elections in Kfar Chabad, and it didn't go out the way they wanted to. In fact, so the Limud Chus, the way they're trying to spin the situation here in Lateva, is that it shouldn't just be a few guys in Kfar Chabad decide to do it. This seems to be the problem. We have to excite the whole world that if Mashiach is a very real thing, then Mashiach needs a palace. Yeah. And that way, this should be the project of all
I
the
heard the episode about it, but I wanted to add something. I forgot to say David HaMelech first built himself a palace, and then he built the Beis HaMikdash, and then he started working on the Beis HaMikdash. Why? Because the Beis HaMikdash needs to be built through a king. We find it also the Gemara in Gittin when it speaks about Rabbi Yechanan snuck out of Yerushalayim to speak to Hyrcanus or wherever the guy's name was. And he says, what was his name?
Bastianas, yeah. One of the guys.
One of those guys. He said that, how do I know you're a king? Because the Beis HaMikdash is going to fall from a king. And Beis HaMikdash also needs to be built through a king and acquire the criteria of a king is he needs to have a palace. So if we're trying to get to step B, we have to do step A, to establish the Malchus of the Rebbe in a way that even if he's a melech, he even has a palace. Now once he has a palace, we can work on the Beis HaMikdash.
Yeah, and it's such a... we're a little bit stuck in our bubble of the way we're thinking of hyper focus on Mashiach and Geula, or being normal or being Lubavitch, whatever. We're hyper focused on it. But for someone to just take a step back a little bit outside of Lubavitch, for the regular person, if Mashiach is a real thing, why not build my palace? I don't know, how crazy is that?
Right. Even if you don't. Right. This is something that I had a conversation with someone. I said, even if you don't want to put a name to Mashiach. Like, okay, talking about, we want Mashiach. Now, very, very abstract. People say, Kabbalah Pnei Mashiach.
People believe in Mashiach, but they don't want to believe in
Mashiach. Correct. But I'm saying, even if right.
That's already a step. We're heading in the right direction.
Even if you just want to think, people are afraid of okay, I'm not going to blame them. It's been thousands of years and so much hardship and all these things without it. And we've been right.
We're very perceptive. We're not judgmental.
Correct.
We make assessments.
Right.
We don't judge people.
I understand. Right. I understand how it could be difficult, but you have to recognize that these things are really going to happen.
Yeah.
And therefore, if they're really going to happen, you have to do real preparations. It's not just like, very nice, someone packed a suitcase and he had a suitcase. No. That person felt that it was really going to happen. He made physical preparations. A lot of people are not. I remember when I first heard about Shabtai Tzvi, like really going into the story, like as soon as people heard that there was a Mashiach, even if they didn't like really chap like what was going on, they sold everything. That was like one of the biggest traumas, was that they sold everything. They bought boats ready to travel. Like that's what we should be like.
Just for accuracy's sake, that's the spirit of what we should be like. But as Rebbe made clear many times about the subject of feeding Rebbe, so if you single out the Lagula, why he did it about buying meistis and then building up schools and then for spreading geld and all these things.
It started from the Nesias, so the Rebbe connects it to the Nesias in the Midbar.
Right, but that's it.
They have that's what he wanted to say.
From the Sikha, the Rebbe's talking about it.
That you see in the Midbar, they built the Mishkan. Sometimes they were there just for overnight. Sometimes they were there for 18 years. But even if they're there for one night, they still built the Mishkan like if they're going to be here now for the next eternity. So there is a thing of planning the moment, even though you know that by tomorrow you might not be here.
So Mashiach's coming right now, but please don't max out your credit cards.
Yeah.
Oh, so we have to prepare for Mashiach. In one hand, the other hand, we still know that Elam Haza is Elam Haza. Living, you have to still live the moment.
This is the way the Eibishter wants. I believe I forgot it was about this, about something else, but something that I've mentioned a number of times. Yidden are expected to live in two opposites at the same time. Something bad might be a contradiction. The very fact that Yidden and Golos is a contradiction, and you have to live with that. You have to be. The Eibishter take this out of Golos in a second, but also don't max out your credit cards and build meistus and do all the things that
maybe max out your credit card. Stucker.
Yeah. On a different topic, that ever seems to have varying shittas about money. It's about meistus should always be in deficit, and always maxing out the credit cards, and people's personal finances should be very frugal and terechas l'meinish yisrael. So, but that's
Parshas Truma, Shurim days. Everybody's
has to be a
Shurim.
Yeah.
And we see it.
Chaim l'bracha.
Chaim should talk to everybody.
But that's what it is. We have to be ready at a moment's notice for real to go out of Golos.
Absolutely.
So the shaila is how do we actually get the job done? How do we actually leave Golos? So the Rebbe told us the answer. The Rebbe told us the shluchas is Kabbal's Pnei Mashiach Tzedekenu. Now, for some reason, this statement, the Sikha, is very. A lot of people have difficulty approaching it and understanding. And understanding it. So I want to know, and a lot of it is also just the actual learning the Sikha, then this kind of osmosis to being around Farbrengen and hearing what people talk about it. What does
it mean practically?
Yeah. What's your impression? What does the Rebbe want us to do? What is the shluchas?
I mean, we have to be mitake seitze. That's what Rebbe said. That's
the way Chavchas Nissen. Yeah. But what Rebbe's trying to define, I don't know how familiar with last time we looked at the Sikha, but at least generally speaking.
Yeah. I try to learn it every year.
What does that mean? What was the Rebbe? The Rebbe was changing something. Till now, we were doing Hafat Samyanis, and then that would bring us to the Gula. Now, so to speak, we've been successful to some extent, and now we have this new now we have a shluchas of Kabbal's Pnei Mashiach Tzedekenu. So that's the show. What do we have to do?
Years ago in Yeshiva, Sifta was having an argument, a discussion, argument's a bad word, with the guy, and he said, I told him the main focus...
We're going to have a whole alphabet of bad words. The
main focus of Shlichus, of Lubavitch, of what we're doing with Tzayim, Chabanos, everything, the main focus is to bring Moshiach. He said, no, the main focus is to bring somebody in. That was his words. I said, I don't know what you mean by bring someone in. I think the main focus is to bring Moshiach. So this is what the Rebbe also obviously said, Chabad al-Asar al-Badr. It's
about
speaking about the Rebbe being Mashiach. It's not I don't think it's a one-size-fit-all rule. Every place should figure out for themselves. But people think, you know what, if I speak about Mashiach, I might, the guy's not going to want to come and put on tefillin, or he might not want to do this, he might not want to join the Chabbanos if we get too much involved in Mashiach, so maybe sacrifice Mashiach to do the other mitzvah. So Chaisara is coming and telling us now the focus is Mashiach. Now, obviously, as I said, the world's ready for Mashiach. You speak about Mashiach, the guy's going to want to put on tefillin, the guy's going to want to put a mezuzah on his door. You have to go a little bit like a Tchila River. Don't what's if and what's if. Stop being scared.
So that's the message. Go for it. Don't be scared to talk about Mashiach. And if you feel like your Chabad is people who have you've made them that they have a head and a heart for the you should explain to them how Taka Mashiach is here. But either way, the spirit behind it is that Mashiach is a very real thing.
Yeah, but
that's what it's about.
That is the focus. Everything else is just a plus.
Explain.
The focus is Mashiach. It's not let me not talk about Mashiach in order I can get it film mezuzah. It's just the opposite. Let me sacrifice film mezuzah in order I can speak about Mashiach.
What do you say to the claim of if I talk about Mashiach, like, and not want to put on tefillin and not? You're saying it's not true.
Again, there's no one size fit all. I can't. I'm here in Crown Heights, but although I do a lot of Miftaim, and my father is obviously involved with the Kelt Ferskin, and Miftaim was in my life. Every time we went on a family trip, there was no way my father was going without his tefillin,
For sure.
stopping everyone. But
you have to be careful with these tiny Barachi people. I'll give you an example. Imagine that we were, Balabavich, I think there's no shaila that the main koch is mitzvah tefillin. It's just one mitzvah that stands above all the other ones, is tefillin, for sure.
people are
a Chaliva said this is what Lubavitcher is known for. That's the one he's bringing with him. It's also, so to speak, the easiest, the one you can do on the spot, the one that's saving Yidden and Eretz Yisrael. That's the big reason that I'm explaining. But talking about it for a reason. It's reason he's cooking specific ones. This is an Okamer Geshema with all the Yidden Shua, and then all the Muhammad Gefangene should be befreit.
Amen.
And L'chaim D'Vrachim.
Saying a lot of things.
More than four.
Same Kalishka, no? It didn't refer it. And so, but imagine the focus wasn't Tefillin. Imagine the main one was this mitzvah. We wanted more to learn Torah with them. We wanted to make a share with them. Mr. Pick any other mitzvah.
Yeah.
And then you go on mitzvah. Everyone knows that sometimes people are receptive. You go on mitzvah. You ask them to put on Tefillin. You ask them, are you Jewish? And then it's leipamayim. Oftentimes people get very upset. Usually Jewish people. But they
refuse.
They get hadafti. They scream at you. How dare you? Who do you think you are? Well, what if I was Jewish? What if I went? Everyone I go the same. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. So we brush it off. We say we know.
And if you don't know what he's talking about, start doing
the same.
There's a problem.
Yeah. So we say
I think all those people are getting knows. Maybe they should try the other avenue. Try off with Moshiach Now. Starting off with Moshiach Now. It's going to work better.
We'll get a taste of it. So
maybe it's going to work better.
It'll be more effective.
Yeah.
So everyone knows what I'm talking about. And we know, as Lubavitchers, we have the confidence of since Tavshin Chaf, whatever it was, Chazayin, that we're doing mitzvah tefillin, that we know, we're confident that we're going with the Kayach of Eisei Tzaddik, that we're going with the Rebbe.
The Rebbe says all the Rebbe come with you.
We're going with the Rebbe's Kayach. We know we're doing the right thing. Our friends have been doing this for decades. So we're comfortable with it. We're confident.
Don't shy away.
We'll try again. We're right away 2 seconds later asking the next guy. You could have just as easily made the argument, Elav, that they were so confident. Shtazach you weren't so confident. Like I said, if it was really about a different mitzvah, and somebody was busy asking someone about tefillin, you'd say, "Hey, you barachikim, look, you messed it all up."
Well, you think people didn't come with diners like that?
At the time, sure.
Some other Kreisen that were saying that.
So
I don't know if we barachik them, but first of all, Mifta Chanukah, they came out that's going to turn people off from Yiddishkeit, and Mifta Tefillin, they came up with all these halachic shilas with it. And for some reason, then nobody said, you know what, let's not do the mitzvah things because some people across the Williamsburg Bridge are going to get a little nervous.
So the fact that
when it came to Mashiach, I don't know, people.
The fact that we cook in tefillin doesn't mean we don't care about the rest of Yiddishkeit. Chas v'shalom to say that that's what they have to think, that's what the Lubavitchers think. And yet we cook in mitzvah tefillin with the full knowledge that there are some people who get bechitzenius, they get a little bit ticked off. And we don't say, actually people, why? Because we have the Rebbe's assurance that this is the right thing, this is the correct thing, we're doing the right thing. It's the same thing.
Obviously, it doesn't have to be in a way that stacks them in the egg.
Just take it with full. You can come in the studio, you can do it in a smartphone. Everything.
Yeah, you don't have to come.
It has to always be Kel the Tikkun.
You're not coming with I'm here to stack them in the egg. No, I'm doing my thing. If you like it, good.
We don't base
like
off.
Like said, you're gonna get on the train.
Get on the train.
I'll run you over.
3 options. Yeah. But
doesn't it say in but 50,000 or whatever he could have lost potential chassidim?
Does he put in the word Titnam Siakif?
Yeah, I don't know what was the how many guys did he lose?
I think it was 50,000. I think something like that.
Heck a lot. What's the shot?
What's the shot?
It's a spiritual thing, or like 50,000 people read it and they were like, "Yeah, this sounds good." Nope.
You think with my yechi I got 50,000 people?
So that's really, I think, the perspective you have to have. First, you have to figure out what's the right thing to do. Don't base. I've heard from some people that in discussing the sichos and what we should do. At the end of the day, they say so maybe the Meshachis have a point. I don't know if we should use the M word, the Meshachis, but the people who come to the Mashiach.
You mean Meshachis? You mean someone who believes in Mashiach? There's a lot of it's a very broad.
As well as people who are koching very much that in Mashiach in particular, and that the Rebbe's Mashiach, and that's important. So the Three Shlavmir.
Well, in general, there's a sense of believing in Mashiach that I believe every Yid is. Then there's a belief in Melech HaMashiach. That's I think more
The people who focus on Melech HaMashiach.
Okay.
And that's an important thing to focus on. And that Mashiach is here, we have to greet Mashiach. And that's what the Shlichus is about. It's supposed to be people who shy away and try to focus more on regular normative Judaism the way it was all the years of before that.
Again with the N-word.
Yeah. So
you have to know who the enemy is.
So when you go on Mitzayim, you're not concerned that you merachik someone because you know you're doing the right thing. We have to have the assurance that it's the same thing. If we're talking about the Rebbe being Mashiach or Bachlal Koching Mashiach or whatever level you feel like your chaver are ready to hear, you need to first know figure out. This is what I was saying.
Oh.
When you have people discussing the sichas, and they get into a discussion about pshat and the sichas, first they try saying what they think, and eventually you get a discussion. They'll realize that there's a lot of things in the sichas that seem to say that it is important to koch that Mashiach, and it is important to koch that the Rebbe's Mashiach, and that this is a very important thing. And then they say their final argument is it cannot be. Why? That's Menachem people. You can't. So my point to bring this all up is you can't start off you can't figure out what the correct thing to do is based on this argument of Menachem people. But you could spin the same exact thing about tefillin, and it's Menachem people. But we don't. You have to first know what is the right thing to do. Learn the sichos and figure out. Forget about this.
You say merachik, so that's the.
Forget about merachik for a second. Figure out what does the Rebbe say, and then figure out a way to do it to not be merachik people as much as possible. Figure out to do beifnim skabel. You can't bring up merachik people as part of the argument.
People say beifnim skabel, like they use it as an amalek, like don't kach Mashiach because the Rebbe says beifnim skabel. I think beifnim skabel is not shlila, it's chiyuv.
It's chiyuv. It's figure out via zoyim all the time. How to do it in the different ways.
Lamdisha guy from Lakewood, you speak in a Lamdisha way. You're speaking to a kid, you speak to him about candies on the tree. You speak to a Makudav HaMiftzayim, you speak to them about world peace. Everybody has their shnit that's going to turn them on about Mashiach.
Just yesterday, there was a thing with the 7th, 8th grade Bachrim who learned the whole Gittin, the whole one of the Bavas, and they got a bunch of Tanya. They went to Lakewood over there and they got tested by Ocean and then some other whatever by the
impressed him.
But they were very impressed. These Pashut, they knew which daf, which the Zachen, 7th, 8th graders. Better than I could say. But the point is, what are we trying to say? We should be, like you were saying before, we should be like everybody else. No, the whole point is that you have Lubavitchers. And with them we can come and we can say Lubavitchers who kochen Mashiach. Lubavitchers who hopefully believe the Rebbe's Mashiach. And he's taking us out of Galus. And that this is then Kochman. And I don't know what the focus was there. But I could say how it should be, at least, is that we could...
Mistama, they spoke about Mashiach.
Mistama.
I find it shocked.
You have Yechia Zagwi. He goes around with his sefer. Yeah. And Kavod, it's clear this has to be the attitude. So what you mentioned before that you mentioned before that the important thing is Mashiach and instead of saying that tefillin is menach people for Mashiach, no. The important thing is Mashiach. The point isn't that we don't care about the rest of Yiddishkeit. The point is this is the point of Yiddishkeit, and this is they will bring the tefillin. Mashiach is mitzvahs, but the way it is, what's important, what needs to happen now is the end of the Mashiach to Genawatzma. It's about Melech HaMashiach. The focus needs to be decidedly Vifel McCann on that's the way I feel. It needs to be the focus on Melech HaMashiach. We need to be comfortable with this. You have to stop being so just like taboo, another the T word. It's uncomfortableness about Mashiach. Everyone starts getting awkward. They'd rather stick to the regular narrative. And like you see, the way people farbreng at the time in the nuns, this was popular. This is the raid. And even if you want to forget about the Rebbe Mashiach for 1 second, what happened to regular talk about Mashiach? You go to regular Farbrengen now, in schools or in yeshivas, there's a lot more Mashiach talk in the nuns than there is now. Why? There's no reason, whatever your shittas are about the sichas, for sure the Rebbe wants us to call Mashiach. I hope we didn't go backwards. I hope we're not. If the Rebbe told us,
I think some people are just afraid to talk about it because they know that the Rebbe is Mashiach in their heart of hearts, and if they start speaking about Mashiach, they're afraid they're going to talk about something that they're uncomfortable with.
Yeah, so this kind of brings us.
That's one type of E. I want to say the E word. There's another type of question. People are ignorant and oblivious. They just don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of right. We're not trying to bash anybody here. We're not trying to be judgmental against people.
100%. Obviously, so covered zelazed. There's a whole
we're trying to help here. Yeah,
we're trying to say from the Rebbe about Nagu covered zelazed.
Yeah. And this
By
brings
the way, I think all your podcasts, you're preaching to the choir too much. I think you need to get like some anti on there.
I would love to have anybody who wants to talk about Mashiach from anywhere on the spectrum. You're welcome to contact us. And
what's your figure it out.
I'll put it on the thing.
On the description,
Yeah.
but
yeah, it's definitely. I started having more conversations with people that previously I would be uncomfortable speaking. Like it's just sitting. I would say you went to the Shalom Zachar. I was by the Shalom Zachar, and previously where I would have been uncomfortable talking about the Inyan because like I don't want to ruin. Like it gets very uncomfortable. I don't want to ruin the vibe.
Yeah.
But I was like, first of all, someone else started the conversation, but I kept it going because like I was like, okay, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. But yeah, it needs to be more mainstream to talk about it, right? Like you said, you don't have to talk about the Rebbe. You do have to talk about the Rebbe because that's the whole focus. But should,
at the very least,
correct. At the very least, talk about Mashiach.
There's no version of the Rebbe Sichos where we go back and it becomes not important to call him Mashiach all the time.
And Taka, what happened at the end of the Shalom Zachar? I was there with a few other people and the Bala Simcha, and we didn't talk about necessarily the Sichos and all these things. We talked about the Inyan Mashiach.
Right, like you said,
it finished off with Eriko Dichit.
Yeah. No, you said yeah.
I think we have to be more comfortable with ourselves in it. If
we
are comfortable with ourselves, then it automatically come like some people say the Caravelt and they go in amusement parks and campus in nation after nation, and they forget about conquering themselves. They forget about turning over their own belt.
Yeah,
I was speaking about a Shalom Zachar. It was a while ago. I was in Shalom Zachar and someone here in Crown Heights. And there's a guy over there who's one of the kochlefels of the Brooklyn Native. And the guy is so obsessed with it. The entire Shalom Zachar, he was talking about it. And he was making it the conversation of the Shalom Zachar about the Eidov and Eidov. And I learned from the Eidov of Beis Hashem's like, wow, I wish I would kach Mashiach about this guy. Like, how if I would only have an obsession with Mashiach as much as this guy's obsessed with the Eidov, so if you would and when I'm speaking to myself, I would be more obsessed about Mashiach, then it's not even like an icebreaker that I feel uncomfortable to disturb the simcha. No, this is like
the pashtus. This is the
Amar Pashat,
Yeah, you have people moving on shluchas, and you have like a little blurb, like we're going, like their elevator pitch. We're going to this place in order to do kash b'kash, and more often than not, it's something about like you mentioned before, bringing people in. We're bringing Yiddishkeit, helping every Jew, any Jew, whatever.
God saves lives.
Something like. Oh, what wonderful things. But there needs to be a decided hadgasha. What is shluchas? Where at the very least, what the Rebbe told CNN, the Mashiach is on his way. I want to say Mashiach here. Mashiach is on his way. We're preparing the world to greet Mashiach. There's no version of the Rebbe shluchas that's not the kavanah. That's not the focus. Even on the very basic, rudimentary level, that is what it's about. You want to get into what it means. That's already up for every shliach in their province to figure out the best way to get that message across to their chevra. And Taka, I'm not people doing that, Baruch Hashem. But that even on Bechusenius needs to be the message. And the Pnimius, everyone kochsach with their chevra, obviously, about Mashiach talks about it, when people get down to it. Everyone still, it's always about Mashiach at the end of the day. But it's very Chetenius is very important. We can't shy away from that. The whole image, what is Chabad Lubavitch, needs to be about that. Mashiach is here, Mashiach is on his way, we're greeting Mashiach, we're preparing for Mashiach, and then it becomes, if Mashiach is very real, then Melech HaMashiach becomes less taboo, like we were saying before. Because if Mashiach's a person, he's a Melech, he said, this Taka, Melech HaMashiach. So who's this Melech HaMashiach? Doesn't care, we don't care, we don't want to know. Obviously, it's obvious to everyone that who's Mashiach. Mashiach is
Listen, the H is not only to Farbrengen about it. The Rebbe says clear out how to get the H that the Mashiach should be Chader in you. It's to learning in Yanago Mashiach. There's nothing more than Teda that gets
that is the power. Yeah. The Tzai, the Rebbe says that it's Tzai like in the Sgulov, the Fetish Malchus with the Fetish, and Tzai practically. You learn about it.
In Yanago Mashiach.
It will seep in.
I mean, think about it. Let's say make yourself a cheshbon nefesh next time you do that. Look back a year ago, 2 years ago, how much more about Mashiach from Teda, not only from the Arum. I'm saying the Arum is also important for bringing about it, absolutely, but how much in Teda do I actually know more than I knew last year or 2 years ago? It's a real question. It's a tough question.
I was watching recently a video of Rabbi Yael speaking at one of the kinnusim, maybe no, Gimel, I think already, and he was saying how he went to the whole thing about Sichos, Rebbe, Yechi, all that stuff, and I don't know if it was at the end, but he was saying at the end like. Pasha, take the sichas and 5 minutes a day learn the sicha. 5 minutes a day learn one of the sichas. Learn from the sicha of that week or whatever. Start at kviyas, go for the beginning, but 5 minutes a day from these sichas, from the sichas of the last years, and he says how if you're not learning the sichas, you're not learning anything about Mashiach. You're asleep. You're asleep at the wheel. Like not even before Maidan. Not even like it's not even a question of Maidani. It's a question of you're sleeping, Pasha. Learn the sichas. Learn about Mashiach. Learn about what the Rebbe said about Mashiach.
Get involved.
Get involved. Be awake. Be open. Woke. Be open to what not only is going on, but happened already and where we are now. And it's like a whole.
Don't live in a bubble.
Correct. Don't live in.
Anyways, yeah. So July 4th this year falls out on Chav Chasidim.
Oh,
it's very very chashiv. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So
I didn't know that.
This year, today's.
I take you on your word.
So I think it's very significant because Deborah wrote in a letter to who's Bashini, whoever it was, Non Aleph, that whoever was president then, that his coming to America is coincided with around the time when America established July 4th as a federal holiday, which that was kind of applying to
the English letter to Bashini.
So you have to understand everything is happening in the context of Mashiach. The Rebbe is all coming to America, like the Rebbe explained.
Simon is the day that Rebbe says the Gulish in the Yid has to be masking.
Yeah, right. The Rebbe says that Yid have maskim. Rebbe says 5 times maskim. As Nishnar is gives man Gulasechem the Machin the Gulba Pashtas. Yid has the maskim Vildos and Machel sein. I believe that we need to be maskim. We need to want it. We need to announce. That the good is here b'pashtus. That means it's all happening for real. The whole Rebbe is in the context of Chav Chasidim, the whole coming to America was not stam. Nice thing. No, the Rebbe, the whole bitter of the whole America bringing the whole Torah.
Let me be a devil advocate for a minute. What does it mean, masking that Mashiach shein b'pashtus? I mean, if you see Gula shein b'pashtus, I mean, if we're living in Elam Halabahesta and so many bad things, quote unquote. So what does it mean practically?
What it means practically, I think.
The
way I understand it is that I hear in almost Baruch Hashem all the speeches. Everybody, this is Gerlitzky that we should be zeich to the Gula Mitzvah Shlema, right? That's what everything. At the end of the day, we should be zeich to the Gula Mitzvah Shlema. So for me, it's like, okay, good. We happened already. Like we were zeicha to the Gula Mitzvah Shlema. Not only zeicha, but we have it in some sense. Now the question is, what sense is it? So to the Rebbe, I think the Rebbe said that we have the Gula, but it's not here b'poyel. Like we have to bring it. We have to find a way to bring it b'poyel, meaning that it's here. It's in the ether, so to speak. It's very
here and the Gela is here.
Now you have to put it right. Now you have to put it together. You have to bring out
the piece of the puzzle here. Now just put it together.
Yeah, now just put it together.
And it's up to us to make that happen.
Right. Everything in your life, right? I recently had a conversation, and they're like, practical. Everybody likes to make everything practical. Don't leave anything up there. Make it practical. I like it. It's very nice. There should be. So it is making everything down here. So make it practical. Okay, make it practical. I think it was in connection to Kabbalah's Moshiach Now. So I made a list of what you should do. Well, practical. And in the list, I said one of the things you should do is every single once a week, once a month, add something in your life that you would make a gula dik. The way you say Maidani, make a gula dik. The way you wash your hands, do it. Anything. Figure something out, make a gula dik. The way you would eat, the way you would drink, the way you would give tzedakah, the way you would, anything. Make a gula dik. Once a month, once a week, add something. And that's how you do it. The Rebbe says with conversation with what's his name, Mordechai Eliel.
Yeah.
In Tavshin Beis. he said he said that the geula imid al saf, and it's our job to bring it into our house,
threshold.
to cross the threshold. That's our avodah. So when you have the geula b'pashtos, it's like it's here. Now you have to internalize it. You have to pull it in. You have to
open your eyes.
Rabbi Manes Friedman, Shlita.
He's the guy you should get a guest on your show.
Yeah, I would love to. Anyway, so if you're listening, yeah. So he spoke in the Tafshin Chavches Ir Tafshin on Aleph, and it's on Gem, or I posted it on my personal YouTube channel. If you'd like to check it out there, FISCH. And he spoke there about this Indian, because these were his weeks where the Rebbe was talking about this, and he was saying, "What does it mean?" He says, people imagine, I'm a grabyak living, everyone's saying to themselves that everyone, whatever, I'm doing my thing. When Mashiach will come, he's going to help me out, and he's going to fix all my problems, and he's going to make me into a mensch, and I'm very excited for that to happen. But
this is the way.
Yeah. So he says, that, like, when it happens, when he comes, the whole point is that you can tap into that now. It's here, ready for you to grab and jump right into it and make it happen. You'll have that. You have that. It's here. It's in the world. Till now, these things were not in the world. The whole geula, the whole Mashiach, the person was Nizgali. He's here. The geula that whatever. Actually, I spoke. The geula that I was saying, speaking that whole year out, it's in this world. The pashtos, and it's here. And the Rebbe Mishpatim was like, I'll prove it to you. Look what's going on in the UN. You see, the geula is being pale, in fact, in the world. This thing, it's happening. You see the effects of it. In science, how do you figure anything out? You make deductions. You look at the evidence, and you make deductions. Muslims arguing that there is some sort of phenomena going on. Gravity must exist. Well, the planet's moving azay, or any other thing. You look for the evidence. As Ever looks at the evidence, he says, I'm telling you, the geula is here. You don't think so? That's your problem. And the answer, everything is up to the Yid. The Yid has to be, and that's what the Rebbe is imploring us. You have to be maskim. Let it in. Stop being so scared of it. Let it affect your life. You have to do it. But the Rebbe's like, it's here. It's begging on your door. Be maskim. And you have to want it. Stop being scared of it. You have to want it. And be machris. It's important, apparently, for a Yid to be machris that this is the truth. And that's, I hope what we're trying to do with this.
I was going to say, to that
podcast.
Point of when the Rebbe says machris, it's very interesting. I don't know how many of us really understand it, but you didn't have such power in the world,
with our speech,
right? With our speech specifically, what is that? When I was reading that, and after thinking about all this, I'm like, this is crazy. It needs to happen through a speech, through it's something
to be pale in the world.
It's something interesting that you didn't have to recognize more. I think that's we have to learn from everything that we see and everything that we hear. The anti-Semites they say Pashat how the Jews control the world. We have to recognize that. In a sense, I'm saying in the sense it's true.
Yeah.
Or they think they're superior. Yeah, that's the
correct. And we have to embrace it. They're telling us what we're supposed to do. They're telling us to control the world.
You don't belong in the universities.
I mean, meaning that we have an obligation, we have to recognize that it's up to us, not because I love it. It's up to us. What does that mean? It's up to us because we are the Kavanah, the Eibishter created the world for us. And therefore, because we are the Banu B'charta, we are the chosen ones, therefore we have the obligation, it's our responsibility to be the ones to bring it happen. Right, everybody's saying it's up to us. What does that mean, up to us? It's going to happen, and at a certain point, if you want to do it, if you want to be mishtatif, be mishtatif. No. It's up to us, meaning we are the ones. And therefore, we have a responsibility. We can't shy away from it. If we shy away from it, that's not going to happen.
So we got to stop with this, may we be zeicha. No. Let's make it happen. I
think, Mashiach's happening regardless. If you're on the
that's a shaila. No shaila, for sure.
If you want to make it quicker, the more you get involved.
We can do like I said, what I can do to be not to help out.
To say that it's not.
But this premise, we're still stuck in the middle of Golos, and we're wondering the one more mitzvah that we should be zeicha. The Rebbe says clear that we were zeicha for the Gula. What's happening now is this technical difficulties, and what we could do is that told us what we could do, all these things, Kachim Mashiach, obviously, the Torah mitzvahs, in order to greet Mashiach. Yeah, but for the Eberstein has a Achraya Saivi that he has to bring us to Gulbitz Varshlema already before this podcast here, certainly before Steven Shlomo Malkamas should be ready with the Rebbe zusammen.
Amen.
And Taka zendt nog de Rebbe, Dolamata.
Amen.
Taka bi Machlis.
Amen.
Chia de Nene Rabbeinu Rabbeinu Melech HaMashiach Leil Bad.
Amen. Anyway, to practice, we have time, right?
Yeah.
So what do we tell people or ourselves? It's 30 years to Gimel Tammuz. I don't know about you, but definitely me and Simcha were born after.
Yeah.
You know some?
Where were you born?
I'm younger than you.
Yeah?
I'm 23.
No.
Yeah.
I thought you were much older.
Wow.
No, you
That's a compliment. Go ahead. Yeah.
You have the wisdom. Shouldn't have been
You were born before
17
Shana, at least.
What do you mean? I was born Tafshin Samach.
Oh, okay. Before you were.
I was born in test. Made the nuns.
Before Meir Shana, at least. I remember the Kach of Meir Shana. I guess I'm old. Anyway, so yeah, we're all
Post Gimel Tammuz.
yeah. They're Shvi.
That is she.
Still.
So yeah, Gimel Tammuz is definitely it's a big deal.
What were you saying? You were saying?
Yeah.
No, I want to
Where
See last
see where this goes.
see last episode for more details. Yeah. So tell me, what do you think? I know we spoke last week a little bit. I'm not sure we spoke last week.
I remember. No, yeah, we spoke last week how you have to I had a few conversations after, and we have to recognize that there is reality, right? There's the way nature goes, and then there's the way Torah goes. Now, a lot of people are stuck in nature. They're stuck in Gullus. Gullus is very limited. Right. Meaning that what? That means that the way the world works, in the way we see the world works, like Milashon Hester, meaning that this is the way we see it, but it's obviously not. But the way we see it, this is how it goes, and therefore we are limited to our capacity as a human being, and the way natural order and all these things, natural selection, all these things, right? Beautiful. Then there's Torah, and we know Torah dictates nature, right? Eilam.
Let's talk about Esther Alma. The first look into it, Torah is the blueprints of
about the thing with
So you have to, right? We said before, you have to live in the now. This is what we're doing. We're in Gullus for whatever that means, right? With the Gula, but we still have to live, so to speak, in what we're doing. We have to recognize it. We have to do the things that are connected to reality. But then you also have the Helim. The Olam Lashon Helim is concealing over
the truth.
Torah, the truth. So you can't ignore the truth. Just because you have to live with Olam Lashon Helim, you also have to recognize that there's the truth.
You're saying
there's truth of the matter.
There's whatever happened in Gimel Tammuz.
Correct. There was a Kavura on Gimel Tammuz, right? Whatever that means. There is Chontayu and some whatever the other one is.
I know, I'm letting you talk.
We'll get to but there's also the truth of the matter, which is the Rebbe is still Nasi Adar, the Rebbe is still Melech HaMashiach, and because he's still Nasi Adar is a neshama b'guf.
Yeah,
and therefore, for whatever Olam Lashon Helim is telling you, God's good and fine. You have to observe the circumstances for what it is, but also there's correct. But also there's the emes. There's the emes. There's the Torah. What Torah says, and that is that the Nasi Adar has to be neshama b'guf.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a lot of things. I think simple.
First of all, what do people say? It's like 30 years, and then when it was 20 years, it wasn't.
So,
but you can also look at the other way. The story with the chesed from the blind son with the clock.
Yeah.
And he was dancing. He said, "Wow, so we're close, even closer to
every second."
I said that 20-something years ago. No, I'm not that old. I mean, 10. I remember it was Tafshin Ayin Aleph. It was 20 years the first time that I was made a Yechi, and I was making a Rikul with friends in school. And I said, "What? 20 years? You think you're not going to shut up?" No, I said, "No, we're 20 years. We're closer. 20 years closer to Mashiach." So I don't know. I guess if you look at the cup as half full, half empty.
Cup needs to be refilled.
Listen, at the end of the day, people didn't appreciate to a certain extent what they had. I was speaking to someone who was around in those days. He said that then when they were saying we want Moshiach now, it was mitpei tzibur. Like, I said, how did you say we want Moshiach now? But there was Farbrengen. You're sitting in front of Moshiach. You're sitting right there. One time there was Farbrengen, they did it for an hour and 45 minutes straight.
Yeah, but afterwards they need to have some sort of
like Beimer
over here.
Moshiach sitting right there, and you're shouting who you want it. He said in Chanami, those days were saying it mitpei tzibur. They were saying because it was saying to say it. They really mean it. Now it's like it's much more for real when we say we want Moshiach now.
I hope so, at least.
I mean, as someone, are you ready to stand? Imagine right now there's a Farbrengen. You ready to stand for 6-7 hours straight in one place, squished, listen to the Rebbe for 6-7 hours?
People did then, so I hope at least we can have the same.
I don't know. Apparently, it wasn't so.
People did, obviously.
Right.
People what?
And people did that then. So I hope at least we can have at least as much of a.
I can speak for myself. I'm dying for that moment.
Yeah. No shayla, but every chassid certainly wants to have to go with and certainly, and also the ones who were there to be there. That's one of the biggest things that they want to see the Rebbe. They want to be there, be by Farbrengen.
It's very interesting. I was by Farbrengen in in Florida, and they were Farbrengen about the Alter Rebbe's.
Probably there'll be more miracles lost at Lava about arranging room like they had in Beis Mikdash. They have special rules. So the Cheder will finally expand them. Finally expand them, something like the Rebbe wanted.
Yeah.
And well, the Amr will expand 770. All the pullers.
So you were saying about the Alter Rebbe's Cherza during davening that so you were saying how you have a lot of chassidim that want to go back, and we could say very nicely, I don't want your Elam Haba, you don't want Gan Eden, I want you Dich because we don't understand it.
But he did.
We don't know with an ice cream and a cheesecake.
We don't know Elam Haba, we don't know Gan Eden, we don't know Dich either.
I'll give my whole farm, I'll give him $1 million. My chicken that I have,
No, but it's saying he was saying how people after Gimel Tammuz we have no idea. We have no idea what it was. So, we could say we want to go back, but So, for us,
first of all, I don't think it's going to be the way it was. It's going to be a whole.
It's going to be a whole story, right? We're not going back to.
So some says that Atzilus today is going to be Atzia Lasid Lavi. So
there you go.
Biggest Giluyin that were before.
No, but what he was saying is that people that were born before Gimel Tammuz, people that were there, for them Olam Haba and Gan Eden are real things, and for them it's very very it's an avodah to say. No, I don't want that. I want Gula. I want Mashiach. I want. So for them, it's.
Right. Some people say, I just want what was done. Correct. I want to go back.
Correct. That's it. That's all I want. That's why I want to go back.
Listen, you have some people that say, I don't care about the Mashiach part. Yeah, Mashiach, no Mashiach. I don't know if that's the.
I don't know if it's the Kavanah, but I hear.
It's like. And you always have those cynical people say, well, what's if Mashiach comes? It's not the Rebbe.
Yeah.
So it's it's in the same kav. What do you answer such a person? What would you answer?
What would I answer? That was Mashiach. I don't know. It's not a question of if it might be someone else. How would you react? It's not going to be someone else.
Better question. What if Jesus Christ not true? Plan. What if David is not David? Then
they have the story of the Alter Rebbe's chassidim that they said that they asked Alter Rebbe Mashiach is going to be a Elam Mashiach or Chassid. Said it's going to be Elam Mashiach.
Yes, the
chassidim are going to go to Mashiach wherever.
Everyone accepts the Rebbe.
There you go.
I heard Tagab Pshat, people say that the deal in the story, the Alter Rebbe say Misnak, they say Elam Mashiach. You don't have someone who's in the world as much as the Rebbe.
But the main takeaway I think that I took from last week in the discussion with Gilbert Thomas, it's very simple, without getting too nitty gritty into details, because obviously we're a little bit by the Rebbe and after Gilbert Thomas in uncharted territory. It's clear by everyone, it's not a regular yard site. Even people who are praving yard sites full on and all the menagim and all the things and whatever the program is, it's my Rebbe's yard, all the things. At the end of the day, it's clear that by everyone, the Rebbe is not the same like any other tzaddik. Even people who are a bit disillusioned with the whole Lubavitch Bechlal, unfortunately, and then the Rebbe is a phenomenon. The Rebbe is different. Everyone knows that they don't know what. And there's a big range of what people think about how they feel about the Rebbe after Gimel Tammuz. But it's clear that it's something else. Yeah, but the one thing that is important, whatever opinion you're going to have, the Rebbe is alive, the Gashmi is Chayv Kaim, he's giving out dollars, whatever that means, he's not, you know.
He's there, he's everywhere, but only in the oil.
Any opinion you want to have, it's really not so important. The main point, because at the end of the day, we could try to figure it out from the Sikhs what the Pshat is, but that's not the point. The point is what we were yet told clearly, what the Rebbe did speak about, that Moshiach is Galus, that he's taking us out of Galus, that we have a shluchus and a job to do. That has to be the focus. It comes to Nachum 30 years Gimel Tammuz, that's not Hadgasha. The Hadgasha needs to be, what is it about? It's, you want to say in a good way, it's another year closer to the Geula, but it's Saivi, it's a Hasidus, and I've seen it's Kayach to get the job done, the shluchas that Rebbe gave us. We're not turning back the clock. The clock's always moving forward, and it's moving forward that we have a shluchas, we have a job to do, and there's no world where that's not.
If you don't want to get any seders, it's a good thing, but I just say personally, this always rubs me the wrong way. Chafches Nissen, all of a sudden, it's like Mashiach Awareness Day.
Yeah.
Why not like Chav Zayin David should be Mashiach? Every day needs to be a Mashiach Awareness Day. I don't know. I'm just maybe it is important having a Mashiach awareness.
Yeah.
So this Mashiach, once a cynical aunt was telling me, I don't understand how Mashiachistim celebrate this Mashiach. Every day for you is Mashiach.
Wow, compliment.
But the game Mashiach, the Kayach for Mashiach, Chassidus, there's the Leda, there's the Samsaf of Malchus that split, and all of the Gilead from Mashiach come down, they come down into the world that the whole rest of the year we're getting from that Gilead that download that happened after Pesach. So there is significance in Yiddishkeit more than the development of these, awareness days. They're not stam because we decided something happened, like Chav Chasiva, not stam that became Tomer. No, there's a mountain Teda in Chatik Hadar Tachten. What happened?
Chav Nissen.
Chav Nissen is that. These days,
maybe it is. Listen, people
these
are
days
getting
are significant.
I don't know. I'm saying, at the end of the day, you didn't getting any say about Mashiach. So,
there are things being put on these days. It's a real thing, I think. It's a real days that we heard from the Rebbe. The Rebbe explains the significance, that we know they're significant. That's important. Every day by the Rebbe, the first zikr, the Farbrengen, personal bebracha, was always that this is the most special, significant. That there's a
Anyway, so speaking about Gimel Tammuz, I mean, there are people who want to say it's a Lula or not a Lula. At the end of the day, I think it's not negate to the focus. The focus has to be Mashiach. The Rebbe's Mashiach. Let's period on the sentence. How you want to commemorate or celebrate or it's focused on Gimel Tammuz. It's like, it's as long as you still are staying focused at the Rebbe's Mashiach. You want to call it a Lula, call it a Lula. You want to call it a day of Friedrich Rebbe left jail. It's not. I'll tell you, even like go back the prior Gimel Tammuz between Chav Zayin Adar, or even in Tafshin Andal and Set Chav Zayin Adar. Like, you think it was so practical for the Rebbe to be Mashiach after the second stroke as much? Obviously, it's going to be in an eight from the Chatchila Rebbe. So if the Rebbe could have been Mashiach after the second stroke, the Rebbe can still be Mashiach after Gimel Tammuz. But
it's enough point that needs to be not glossed over.
That what?
That's a point that people need to not gloss over. It's important.
Also, there's the people who, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, Meshachist and anti-Meshachist, didn't wake up on Dalet Tammuz and like make teams. These people the attitude was already. I wasn't there, but that's what I understand from their historical background. The attitude was already around from before. Some people were just their whole focus that time was the Rebbe being gesund, and it was all about the Rebbe's gesund, and they were kaching, and which doctor came on Sunday and which doctor left on Monday, and that was their whole kach. Then you had another, and they were more in the Marash Cheredik, and they were the crying group, and then you had the more of the people who were saying Mashiach is Niskala any second, and the Rebbe is coming and being made a Dichi, and the whole kach was about Mashiach. There's a book that came out discussing that period of time called Reiktim Ubechim. It's
interesting.
The dancers and the criers. So I think it was like the same type of people. It was Nishtal. So after the same people who were from the Reiktim, and the whole kach was Mashiach, and the Rebbe doing his Gala any second.
It didn't change.
So after Gimel Tammuz, the Rebbe still Mashiach. And and the people who are crying, and it's all about the gesund, and the Rebbe is a human being, and he needs this doctor and that doctor, and this guy said this, and there was all the politics of which masker was against which doctor. So if the Rebbe is such a human being, so okay. So after Gimel Thomas packed the bags, it was a nice try, and we'll only do mitzvah mezuzah and mitzvah tefillin.
I don't really understand though, because if by the Rebbe, if the whole point was to bring Mashiach, and the Rebbe told us that we're certain things bevadas, that we're holding a certain stage. If that's not true, plan, then why do we care about mezuzah and tefillin or any of the rest of the shluchas? Either garnished. Either the Rebbe gave us a shluchas, so we have a job to do, or the whole thing didn't work and let's all be snags or something. I don't know.
That's what you're preaching to the choir. That's why I say you have to bring some to make some action on the podcast here. But yeah, the Rebbe said the Rambam, the Rebbe said the Shlishi Brakam Rambam. No one said after Gimel Tammuz, you know what?
Well, it's not important anymore. Yeah. And everyone really knows this. Nobody will tell you sincerely. I think most people, I hope, that it didn't. Whatever. It failed. Everyone is kind of like a little bit not really sure what to say, but the point
no one will tell you that it failed, but people will tell you how
it became ambiguous.
Yeah, it's not so simple.
Became foggy.
People can do this, people can do that, and you still have to be open and accepting of people of different opinions that say that maybe Take, there's no difference between the Alter Rebbe and the Rebbe.
Very open of accepting of everyone who shares their opinions. Yeah.
Listen, you can always say the Vart to the Amshinover. They told him that the Friedrich Rebbe Siddur are saying he's Moshiach. So he said, "Listen, I'm not Moshiach. I'm not Moshiach. What do you care? He should be Moshiach." That's a type of way you can explain it to someone in the Welt. If you see, some people are genuinely want to know and they want to listen, but sometimes you see it's just a nudnik who's, you say in Hebrew, tochen mayim. He's just grinding water. Going back and forth. You tell him, listen, I'm not Mashiach, you're not Mashiach. What do you care? It should be him. The main thing is Mashiach should come. That your masking, 99% of the time, the guy would tell me, you know what? Yeah, at least Mashiach should come. So we're getting somewhere with him.
Yeah. Whatever it is, that's for sure needs to be the focus. And this whole, I personally think that stressing that, like I mentioned last week, that the whole Hilula business is doesn't really drive so much with the Rebbe being Mashiach.
That's already everyone.
That's already, like I said, that's not the main point.
That's everyone between them and their Seil Charav, and how to Prav Gimel Tammuz one to think of. You have your Mashpia and you have your Seil Charav.
But wherever you Prav, the spirit is that the Rebbe is taking Seil Galus.
100%. There's also the Sikha from the Rebbe says about, it comes in general when it comes to irrigation. I think it's important to emphasize. There's a Sikha from the Rebbe about Nagu Kavod Zelazet. Talmid Rebbe Kiva is the one that said after the Rebbe Kamecha, and Dafke his Talmidim were the ones fighting with each other. So he said because there were such Mikushadim, they were saying no, but you don't understand what the Rebbe is trying to say, and you don't understand. At the end of the day, there's certain things we know that the Rebbe said black and white. For example, the Rebbe said say to learn Rambam every day. Summing up. Not to have chayist mei, pictures of chayist meis, round luchas. There's certain things we know that Rebbe said black and white. Then there's Shulchan Aruch, you have to keep Shulchan Aruch. Everything else that's irrigation, as long as you're not disobeying something openly from the Rebbe, or as long as you're not disobeying Shulchan Aruch, and it makes you feel good, I'm saying knock yourself out.
You're saying it's in the middle ground where there's
don't force somebody else.
Right. There's room for
some people say like. The only way to connect to the Rebbe is going to the aisle. There's no other way. If you don't go to the aisle, you're not Lubavitch. And some people say you're not allowed to go to the aisle. You only write to the Rebbe and you get Kaddish. Who are you to know? How do you know about it? You understand what a Rebbe is? I don't know about you, but I'm a simple guy. I don't understand the Rebbe, so I can understand how you're meant to connect to the Rebbe. And this is the only way, like my way or the highway.
We just learned today about Mahia Skashus. Shared my Skashus that the Rebbe can't see me, so how can you have a Skashus? And then
through learning the Rebbe's
learning a Torah Farbrengen with my
just saw him at the shop last week, 2 weeks ago.
Doing it what the Rebbe says to do. That's how we connect to the Rebbe.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, the video at the Shabbos in the 70s, they had $1. The guy goes by, so Shiva is giving the Rebbe a safer. I don't remember. The point I want to bring out that he asked the Rebbe, I want to have your picture in my house. Like we're together, and the Rebbe like it's against his label grown right away. The Rebbe says, "I want my picture, whatever." But the main thing is to learn the sikhs and do what I say.
That's like a funny. I didn't see that.
Yeah, With Matzah Shabbos.
Which shit was the first one or second one?
It was last 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. It was
No, I
recent.
mean like the playthrough videos, which
Yeah, I don't remember if it was the TWS or just okay. No, it was. Never said the main thing is to learn the set of the picture. Yeah,
we're not backing Tzipin.
no, for sure, 100%. No doubt, every chassid needs to have a picture of the Rebbe and look at videos of the Rebbe.
Yeah, but those things are zicher. Doing the Rebbe's Zayas, Farbrengen with the Rebbe's chassidim, learning the Rebbe's Teda. That's not a shaila. That's the.
So speaking about Mashiach and Pnei Tziva, so at the end of the day, we want Mashiach because the Rebbe told us to say we want Mashiach now, or we want Mashiach because we want the Rebbe, or because we want Mashiach for what Mashiach is.
This is a question that I think is a little bit hard to.
I'm opening up a can of worms now.
This is already hard. I think you have to be honest with yourself to try to figure out. Certainly, the Rebbe wants us to want Mashiach for real.
What does it mean to want it for real? Okay.
Yeah, about the Tava, where the Rebbe explains what it means. That the Yid is in Gantis today, so that it's in Golos. And if only one Yid really meant it, we'd have the Gula. So apparently, we all don't mean it the way we're supposed to mean it. But
so regardless who Mashiach is.
So there's two things, right? In Indigerat, the whole point.
Sign in,
the whole point is that the Mashiach is the Yechida. He is your. I don't think there was a universe where it's not the Rebbe, because after the Rebbe explained to us what Mashiach is, that Mashiach is the Yechida of all the Yidden. So I don't think there's a way for me to see it differently. I don't know what that means.
So you're asking more of like a.
No, I'm saying, do you want Mashiach because I want the Rebbe? The Rebbe's coming back, or the Rebbe never left us, but through Mashiach, so that's why I want Mashiach. But if the Rebbe comes and starts Farbrengen and it's not with Mashiach, I'm good.
Right. So I started a few months ago with someone in LA. We learned Hatkuf Vagula, Merdik Sefer, and it goes from the beginning and lays out what Mashiach is, what Geula is, what's the point, what's the thing, and then goes into who Mashiach is and how important, and all the milas of Mashiach and the connection to Mashiach, and then it's Yader B'Cheskas Mashiach. It's a whole massive thing. It's very, very geschmack, and I've never heard these concepts. Very, very interesting concepts. I don't know. It's all there's sources for everything. I'm sure. No. There's a lot of sources.
There's footnotes.
Yeah. I didn't look at all the sources, but a lot of them are. Yeah. Very reputable sources, and it for me was eye opening to see what is Mashiach, what is Geula. It's the reason for everything. It's why you ask the question Mashiach, why Geula. It's so you're asking me what I want Mashiach for, why I want Mashiach. I want it because, I asked the question. I asked someone, two people going on shlichus. I asked them why do you think they're going on shlichus? To bring the Rebbe to people. My question was to what end? What's the point of traveling to another place and moving your whole family and going away from your grandparent, whatever, all these things. The answer is Geula. The answer, that's the reason, that's why we do anything. Then you have this other part of Mashiach and Geula, like you were saying, if only we really cared that we're not supposed to be here, we're supposed to be somewhere else. You're not supposed to be comfortable in Golos. You're supposed to if there was one person that really, really cared, then we would have the Geula. I'm not that person, because at the end of the day, there is, everybody's comfortable in this world. Even if they're not making enough money, even if they're struggling, at the end of the day, I would rather be here than in Geula. Why? Because I have no idea what that is. It's more comfortable.
The unknown.
Correct. It's more comfortable here because I know that if I try this, if I do that, if I try this venture, eventually I'll make it. Even if you're delusional, I'll buy a lot of your ticket every day. In your head,
I really don't recommend that.
Correct. Okay? Don't. In your head, there's hope. In your head, you're I might make it. I might make it in life. So I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But the more I'm learning about it, the more I'm learning about Geula and Mashiach, it's you have to know what Geula is, what the point of Geula is, in order to start being oh, okay. Now, also another thing is like, he says over there about the Tzvila Gula, Tzvisa, right?
Tzvisa
Yeshua. If you're not a person that really, really loves Torah and loves mitzvahs and loves the Eibishter,
every year,
right, correct. If you don't await the Geula, like you're awaiting like the pie of pizza that you ordered, then you don't really care about Torah mitzvahs. So like I'm like, oh, that's well, that's interesting. But like, so the
Avodah of Shlei Lishma B'Elo Shma. Like kids, you get them excited. They'll be candy, Madonna,
right. But right. So what's the point of that? Why is that there? Because to want Mashiach, because it's one of the Gimel you're supposed to wait at the Chakal Mashiach and you're supposed to really, really want it. But right, like the Rebbe was saying, how everything that I did to get you to want Mashiach is like it's not working.
So when the Rebbe is saying Eivol gemeint mit Tanemis and gemeint mit Tanemis,
so the question is
do we have to want Mashiach Lamitasa, what Mashiach is B'Tarasa, what Mashiach really is, or we just, even if we're only, or the Vart is Be'emes, we have to demand it, and even if we're demanding the candies on the tree.
Well, with Tarasa, the point is that you should really care
for what it is.
Yeah.
So
if maybe the Rebbe is speaking that to demand Mashiach for Emes, and even if you're having in mind the candies on the trees, but you
really care about the candies on the trees.
You're really screaming for the candy on the.
Interesting.
I scream for ice cream.
Right, but how many people really care about candy, whatever it is?
Right. The point is that
it doesn't have to be. It can be everyone. Lefi arcade.
That's not a little bit supporting this understanding. Or the famous sikh of the Shanab Mendel, whatever it is.
But the Rebbe is crying about Mashiach.
Yeah, and the Rebbe says, "Noch all the Biyurim Chassidus, let's be honest. Why can't the Eibishter tell us what the secret is? This big secret reason that's going to make all the boo-boos better, whatever it is, right? From the whole Galus. If we know what it is, it'll be a little bit easier to go like, come on, this is hard. You have so many horrible things happen to Klai over the years. I don't even have to say it. It's sheklich. And then the Rebbe feels the pain more than anybody else. So why can't we?
He actually so like us.
And the Rebbe saying also, I don't know. The Rebbe doesn't know the answer. And the Rebbe's crying, why not? And the Rebbe says, I searched for answer because the only answer I could find is that if we would know the answer, we wouldn't cry as much as with Amos. If we would find 1 ounce of goodness of Golos, we wouldn't really mean it when we said the Maseh. The Eibishter wants us to hate Golos. Forgive my language over here. Hate whatever. The H word. The Eibishter. We'll have the alphabet by the time we're done. The Eibishter wants us to
despise Golos.
To really want the Gula, to be pained every second against for Golos. We need to we need to want Gilui. We're not supposed to want Helam. During Galus, you need to want Gilui. This is the only way. So we need to want the Gula.
Right. It's a little delusional. Meaning you have to be delusional.
You have to want something that you never know what you want.
Correct. You have to be delusional. You have to be like
that's
whatever.
Part of you have to learn about it though.
Right. Correct. I'm saying no, in the sense of you have to be delusional to the Helam. You have to be disillusioned. Disillusioned, not delusional. You have to be disillusioned with whatever is going on now. Whatever is going on now, very bad.
Right.
This is not where it's supposed to be.
Fake news.
Right, fake news. This is fake. You have to recognize that this is
30
fake.
years time was not going according to plan.
No.
Right, because we're sadly everything that happens not necessarily pushes us further and further, but what it does is it makes it.
The whole thing is not in a certain knife and not according to plan.
I think what a lot of people have is that. Right, the T word, trauma. This is life, right? And I see it. The very fact that someone cannot understand in their head how it's possible, as Yaakov Vin Mace, what do you mean? Like, dude, you're describing the whole conversation in the Gemara. And they had an answer. What was their answer? Their answer wasn't some spiritual vart of living on. No. And there's a pasuk that the Eibusher is Mekabet Tzimtzei Yisrael and Yaakov, whatever the vart is, and Ma'azar B'chaim Afu B'chaim. Okay. What? So I'm saying we have to have a very similar conversation of, first of all, you have to have the conversation. You can't be like, not going to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. You have to have the conversation. That's one step closer. Once you have the conversation, then you can have people that have very, very good heads and very good way of explaining things, and they can explain how Pashut asking the question, having the conversation brings us the realization as that this is the truth. Torah is emes. And when Torah says Yaakov even loy mace, nid loy kames, and he didn't die. It's not dead.
Yeah.
How is it possible? I don't know. Look at that. You're alive. You're alive. He's alive.
Yaakov's alive.
It's like, that's crazy. So I think what needs to happen is we have to be disillusioned with Galus.
The Galus. So even if we're not necessarily fully appreciating it, we have to know with a certainty and try to realize, for whatever reason, Galus. We have to convince ourselves that at least with Kabbalah Sale, that Galus is fake news.
Galus is fake news.
At least with Kabbalah,
Okay.
start with Kabbalah Sale, and then work on making it that you should really feel that way in the convention.
I think that's what it seems like. That's
Maskim, Vildos, and Machar sein. These are the steps.
So maybe
Maskim, yeah.
So at the end of the day, so if we had going back to my question, I don't know if maybe you answered it. I didn't. If we had the Rebbe came back without Moshiach,
no.
would we be happy?
It would be fake.
It would be almost like saying we want Moshiach now and Tafshim Mem Haim and Vav Mem Zayin. No?
Right, see why people saying
people
Mashiach
were
now.
saying it then Tzibur.
I don't think that's entirely. I mean, yeah, people saying people also want.
Well, okay. Another thing, and this is something that is gaining.
Unless
steam.
Mashiach is going to be something more than just having that.
No, this is
Yeah,
something
for sure,
that's
it's something more.
This is something that's
It's
getting
not
more
child,
steam.
it's more.
Steam is it becoming more mainstream? Is that until I think in Tavshem Mei, a lot of people were dependent on the Rebbe. The Rebbe didn't want it.
And when?
Tavshem Mei, people were dependent. Right before Gimel Tammuz, people were dependent on the Rebbe. Whatever the Rebbe said, that's what we did. And if the Rebbe didn't say something, then we wouldn't do it.
The Rebbe was saying more and more to stop asking
Right,
questions.
correct. Correct, and this is the whole Mashiach thing, the whole Geula thing was very much, and the reason, and I think the reason why the Rebbe laid out in the beginning of his Nasias how this is going to be something that it's not you're not dependent on me, right? We're doing this together, right? The Rebbe didn't create followers; he created leaders, right? Famous
Cliche.
very. But what's the Vart? The Vart is that we have to recognize. Again, this comes to the same responsibility that it has to come from us. Everything that happened post Chavchas Nissen came from the Am, came from people that recognize that I don't have to wait until the Rebbe tells me to do something. The Rebbe said a sikha. The Rebbe showed us, right, opened the curtain. I don't know who said this, one of the big speakers said this, how the Rebbe opened the curtain and showed us, Pashat, like how he felt about Mashiach. Chavchas Nissen. That everything that I did is lahevel v'larik. That's like hevel v'larik. Like it's meaningless because Mashiach is not as long as Mashiach and Gula are not here. So some chassidim heard that and they got down. We're not going to wait until the Rebbe tells us what to do. Here's the Rebbe telling us that I'm not going to tell you what to do. Right? And except for the Rebbe said that whatever I could, I still do. Gave tzedakah, and then all those things. So people sat down and they're like, we got to figure something out. So David Nachshon figured his thing, and another guy figured his thing. The Piskei Dinim, the Psak Din affected so much. We see that from the Psak Din came the Achtverta, the Ichi, and the Rebbe, and it was said in front of the Rebbe, and the Rebbe accepted it. The Rebbe accepted the Psak Din. It has to come from us. We have to be the ones. So when we say we want Moshiach Now, it can't be Mipnei Tzivoi, right? The Melech cannot come to the Am and say, "I'm your Melech. I'm being mitzvah you."
Need to really
Correct.
want it.
The people need to be the ones to accept. So I think one of the things that one of the silver linings, so to speak, of the Helam of Gimel Tammuz is that now the Rebbe is not here to tell you what to do anymore. We have to figure it out. And part of figuring it out is sitting down, Pashat, and discussing it. If they sat down in Chayesar and Beis, they sat down after Chavchas Nissen and we figured it out. But if they sat down by Chayesar and Beis, if the Shulchan came and ate this and coming to Achlotes Tevis and how to get everybody ready, not yourself but your community to be competent Meshach Skin, we would have figured it out. We wouldn't need a Gimel Tammuz.
See, then already could have been avoided.
It could have been avoided. As long as there were
right
people
now we could avoid going to Gimel Tammuz 40 years.
And,
right,
correct.
Long before
Let's
that.
not talk about water under the bridge.
Correct.
Let's
talk about now. Right now, what needs to be done is people to sit down and
or
start
avoid even
having,
30 years. We're still
Right, correct. We're not there yet. We need to have conversations of recognizing that there is gullus. Gullus is fake. That's not what we're here for. It's very bad for us to be in gullus. It's a cholim, that it's very, very bad, right? That's why you can have two opposites, because it's not real. It's not a reality. This is not reality. Our reality is, and that's Gula B'Pashtus. Gula B'Pashtus. This is reality. And I think another part of Gula B'Pashtus is that it's not that hard, because you don't. Before you had to get yourself disillusioned from Gullus, but there was nothing like there's nothing else. You had to be zecher to the Gula Mitzvah Shlema also. Now we have Gula Mitzvah Shlema, it's here, and all you have to do is Effen that you're here.
When you realize Gullus of Assad, you'll see the Gula. Your eyes will be open.
Fall away.
Maybe we should just open up our eyes and understand sometimes. Maybe we should have full session.
But it's a conversation we have to have. Thank you for being. It's a good question. No, and yeah.
So what do we do? Practice.
We have to have conversations, and I wrote the thing about I tried to be moderate. I'm going to try to continue more, but get people to sit down and have conversations. I personally am having conversations with people that I would never have conversation with.
Practically like, share, and subscribe. Recommend this to your friends.
Practically have conversations with your friends about
talk about Mashiach, think about Mashiach, and stay hungry after meals for the rest of the show.
I never speak about in Vayeda.
That was which was that?
Maybe Vayeda.
He's staying slave, no?
You're always you can't.
Because
you're always hungry for.
You're still hungry for the just Nashara bar.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
We should talk about the full scholars before Shlish Shana. We can't. I love this. Everybody preparing for Shlish Shana. Dude, let's try to not get there.
Let's prepare to not have Shlish Shana.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It'll already be a young male hafel simcha.
I mean, we should. It's funny. Rabbi Wolf last year, I made a whole thing about Gimel Tammuz, how by the Frierdiker Rebbe, they didn't know the greatness of what happened in Gimel Tammuz until after.
Correct. After Mafreya.
Should have. Now we should see how Gimel Tammuz was the Schalta de Geula.
Retrospective.
It should be everything we should see retrospective. And Manas also said in Tafshan Aleph. He said how you see when the Rebbe is telling us about the Galus, the Rebbe says how the Rebbe is showing us what already happened. So that's how everything was.
All the negative in Yonim of Galus that was meant to do Ufta was already done. The Yavi, and Sarah Fardiyel that happened already. Nigla and Nichse happened already. And Chiyenu, who the pasuk about
I said
Eichet in ot Giazman Gulaschem bepeil that we have to Ad Masai.
Is Galus from Mel from Mashiach.
It's already enough is enough. I'm sick of Galus.
There we go.
Disillusion. It's fake. Chaim.
Another
Chaim. Oh, the story about this bottle.
Oh. With the last L'chaim, I'll hear the story.
Basically, Tafshimem test, the Rebbe, Shvus Tafshimem test, the Rebbe spoke about making a Siyum and Rambam and every halacha that's finished. So till then, from Tafshin Memdal, when the Rebbe started the Rambam, my father started a Shir and Rambam next to him in 70. It's still going on till today.
Gate stark.
Shleisha Prakin, never missed a day. And when they would finish a sefer, they would make a siyum. And they would get a bottle of mashke. Anybody would make a public event, a public Farbrengen, a shliach for a dinner, that would give a bottle of mashke. So they would get always a bottle of mashke when they would make the siyum on the sefer. Shvus Tafshimem test, the Rebbe said that they should make a siyum on every single halacha. They never said this.
86 halacha was it?
83.
83 halachas.
Someone's already involved in it. He's already making on every sefer. For now, he start doing on every halacha. The Rebbe said, "V'bal dezer is amasud there because he's an organized person. He can. He's already today going to do whatever halachas they finish that day on Shavuos Memtes."
The Rebbe said he follows a masud. This I didn't know. Wow, that's huge. Okay.
The Rebbe said he's an
100%.
And the Rebbe came and the Rebbe on his own. Usually people would give in.
Right.
Wow.
So the Rebbe on his own gave a bottle of mashke from his own.
Oh wow.
And then the next week again, till after 2-3 weeks, my father realized that Rebbe wants to give every week, so he started bringing in. So then eventually came Pesach, and he sees he has
all these bottles.
40 bottles of mashke. He didn't want. Till then, he would have 5, 6. So we just leave it at 770, and that's it. Then all of a sudden, we have 40 bottles. So he asked Rabbi Marlow what could do. Rabbi Marlow said the mashke, because you can't keep mashke chametz from the Rebbe, and you're not allowed to sell chametz from the Rebbe to a guy. So he said the mashke is chametz, but the bottle is not. So wash out the bottle and keep the bottle.
Oh.
So if you make the cheshbon from Shavuos Mem Test, about 150 bottles. So I figured if we're gonna Farbrengen, let's bring down this bottle.
Wow.
We should have this from the Siyam Aram. We should have the Siyam on the whole galus.
Amen.
ועד כדי כך המדבר גולהוב מהדר עם זול מחי זין יחי המלך